Last time we had you here, controversial subject was Bill Cosby, and a lot of people, to my surprise, took your side. That a lot of these people
Why does
are
that
out
surprise
for
you?
things. Well, the last time it was about 13 to 14 accusers. Now we're up to 28 accusers. So, do you still stand on the same way with Bill Cosby? What's your thoughts as we speak right now on February 5, 2015, with 28 accusers?
Well, here's the situation with this. My take on it, and he all these accusers. So someone's telling a story here, and someone's lying, and someone's telling the truth. But in the '60s and in the early '70s, it was almost, it was like a sexual revolution, and people were having a lot of sex, and people were getting themselves in situations and wanting to be in those situations and consenting to having sex and sexual relations and with many different people, not just with one. And when you carried on like that those years, and now 25 years later you look back on it and you think again, well, maybe I didn't really want that to happen, and then you say I was raped. Yeah, rape is a different story. Rape is a crime. There's a definition for it. It's non-consensual, and you said no. And so again, I don't know if he raped all these people. No one's going to know that. But it seems to me, if he was out there raping everybody all those years, someone would have gone to the police. Some charges would have been brought against him. There would have been a couple slam dunk cases there. Not one.
It was a settlement.
Yeah, a settlement, but you settle for a lot of different reasons. Michael Jackson settled cases too. You settled cases for a lot of different reasons, not necessarily because you're admitting to the conduct. Legal fees get out of control. Press gets crazy. If you can shut someone up with a few dollars and end it right there, where they can't talk about it with anyone, sometimes that's a good decision to make. And we don't know. I don't know. 25 years later, 30 years later, claiming you were raped when you went to a guy's room, drank 10 bottles of wine with him, got naked and got in bed with him, and all of a sudden in the morning you realize you had sex and he raped me, that's bullshit. So that's what you got to call it. That's not right. And it does a disservice to women these days who really have been raped, these kind of cases like this. So I feel, these women, sometimes, I think a lot of them are recreating history. Maybe, he did on a few of them, and they were afraid to go to the authorities, and they just been living with it all their lives. And if that's the case, it's horrible. I have a sister, I have daughters. It's horrible if that's what he did.
What about that model? Was nothing
I don't know. That model. That model is a publicity whore, and any way she can get her name in the news, her time has come and gone, and it's a hard thing. It's like a boxer that just stays on too long, and they got nothing left, and they get killed. She's got nothing left. I don't know, but she has to get her name in the press. So rather than take a naked selfie of herself and make believe someone stole it, she's out there jumping on this bandwagon. But her 3-4 minutes of fame are fizzling out now. This whole thing is fizzling out. He's outperforming again. People are cheering him on. We're never going to know. That's the problem with them not doing anything 20 years ago.
That these people have sour grapes, and maybe they did something and they were promised X, Y, and Z, and they did consent, and 25 years later, as you say, they have the sour grapes. They did have sex. It wasn't rape, but now that most of them, 90% of them, are nothing except for the model that I mentioned. Do you think maybe that's a possibility?
Yeah, and he was in Hollywood, and he was a big deal in Hollywood, and even
Huge.
These days, guys talk a lot of garbage to women and ladies. That's the reality of it. Guys have one mission. They want to get you in bed, and they'll say a lot of junk to get you in bed, and that's how it's been over the years. So here he is, a big Hollywood guy, and I'm sure he was talking a lot of garbage to these girls, making promises that maybe he had no intention of living up to, and them, gullibly believing it, agreeing to go to bed with him, in the hopes of getting a role in a TV show or a movie, or getting introduced to a major producer or someone. Maybe that seduced them into having sex with him. But that's not rape. That's more along the lines of fraud. It's not rape. So you consented to the sex, you consented to it, then it's not rape. It's something else. And they're not saying that. They're all out there joining together saying he raped them. So, he obviously had a lot of sex back then, but a lot of people did. And in Hollywood, a lot of people did. Jordan, a lot of people did. It was wild and woolly back then. And look, when you look back 25 years, I can look back on 25 years, and my friends look back on 25 years, and they say they can't believe certain things happen. But you move on with life. You get on with life, and everybody does the best they can. And they had an opportunity to press charges, and they didn't. So they've got to deal with it and move on with life. And if it's too tough for them, get therapy and move on. But making